Dr. Lisa worked at the Space Research Center for 15 years. She had seen many strange things in her career, but nothing prepared her for what was about to happen. The government had chosen her home for a very special project. An alien visitor would stay with her for 6 months as part of the first-ever alien exchange program. The alien's name was Kira. She looked almost human but had silver skin that seemed to glow softly. Her eyes were larger than human eyes and changed color based on her mood. When Kira first stepped into Lisa's house, her eyes turned bright blue, which Lisa later learned meant curiosity. "Welcome to Earth," Lisa said with a warm smile. "I hope you'll feel comfortable here." Kira nodded but didn't speak much. She carried a small device that could translate her thoughts into English words. Her species communicated mostly through mental connections, so speaking out loud felt strange to her. The first few days were quiet. Kira spent most of her time observing everything around her. She watched Lisa cook breakfast, clean the house, and water the plants. Everything seemed to fascinate her. She would stare at simple things like the coffee maker or the television for minutes at a time. But Lisa noticed something odd. Whenever her neighbor Amy came over with her husband, Kira would look very confused. Amy was 7 months pregnant, and her belly was quite large. Kira would stare at Amy's stomach with wide eyes, her skin turning a worried shade of green. One evening, Amy and her husband came for dinner. They were talking about baby names and showing everyone the ultrasound pictures. Kira sat quietly in the corner, watching everything with intense focus. When Amy mentioned that the baby would be born in 2 months, Kira's eyes turned bright red, which Lisa had learned meant shock. After Amy left, Kira finally spoke up. "Lisa, I don't understand something. Why does Amy carry another being inside her body? Is she sick? Is something wrong with her?" Lisa realized that Kira had no idea what pregnancy was. She sat down next to her alien guest and thought about how to explain. "No, Kira, Amy isn't sick. She's going to have a baby. That's how humans create new life." Kira's eyes turned purple, which meant deep thinking. "But how? On my planet, we create new life by joining our consciousness together. We don't carry anything inside our bodies. This seems very difficult." Lisa nodded. "It is difficult, but it's also beautiful. Would you like me to explain how it works?" Over the next few days, Lisa started noticing more things that confused Kira. When they went to the grocery store, Kira saw a young couple holding hands and asked why they were connecting their appendages. When they watched a movie with a romantic scene, Kira wanted to know why the two humans were pressing their mouths together. Lisa realized that Kira's species had no concept of physical affection or romantic love. They reproduced by sharing thoughts and energy, not through physical connection. The idea of two separate beings coming together to create life was completely foreign to her. One day, while they were walking in the park, they saw a family with small children playing on the swings. The parents were laughing and pushing their kids higher and higher. Kira watched this scene with great interest. "Lisa, those small humans, they came from inside their parents' bodies." "Well, from inside their mother's body, yes. But they needed both parents to create them." Kira was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "This is very confusing. On my planet, when we want to create new life, we simply share our energy with ourselves. We don't need another being. And the new life forms immediately as an adult. There are no small versions." Lisa realized how strange human families must seem to Kira. The concept of children, parenting, and growing up was completely alien to her. On Kira's planet, new beings were created fully grown with all the knowledge they needed. That evening, Lisa's friend Jenny called to share exciting news. She had just found out she was going to have a baby. Lisa was happy for her friend, but she noticed Kira listening to the conversation with great concern. After Lisa hung up, Kira asked, "Is Jenny also going to carry a being inside her body for months? This seems very dangerous. What if something goes wrong?" Lisa could see that Kira was genuinely worried. "It's not dangerous if you take good care of yourself. Millions of women have babies every year. It's a natural part of life for humans. But why do humans choose to do something so complicated? Why not find an easier way? Lisa thought about this question for a while. I think it's because the whole process brings people closer together. When two people decide to have a baby, they're making a commitment to each other and to their future child. It's not just about creating life, it's about creating love. Kira's eyes turned yellow, which meant she was trying to understand something very difficult. Love. I have heard this word, but I don't understand what it means. Lisa smiled. Love is why humans want to be together. It's why we hold hands, why we take care of each other, why we create families. It's the most important thing in human life. That night, Lisa lay in bed thinking about how to help Kira understand human reproduction and relationships. It wasn't just about explaining the biology. She needed to help Kira understand the emotions, the connections, and the beauty of human love. She decided that tomorrow, she would start a proper education program for Kira. Not just about how babies are made, but about why humans choose to make them. About love, commitment, and the joy of creating new life together. As she drifted off to sleep, Lisa could hear Kira in the next room, talking quietly into her translation device. She was probably sending reports back to her home planet about the strange and wonderful things she was learning about human life. The next morning, Lisa woke up with a plan. She would teach Kira everything she wanted to know about human reproduction, starting with the basics and building up to the more complex emotional aspects. It would be like teaching a child, except this child came from another world and had never experienced physical love or family bonds. Lisa looked forward to the challenge. After all, helping someone understand the miracle of human life was one of the most beautiful gifts she could give. The next morning, Lisa woke up early and prepared her study room for what she thought would be the most unusual lesson of her career. She gathered all her medical textbooks, anatomy charts, and even borrowed some educational models from the research center. Teaching an alien about human biology was definitely not covered in her training manual. Kira floated into the room at exactly 9 o'clock. Her species didn't need much sleep, so she had been awake most of the night, probably thinking about everything she had observed the day before. Her skin was glowing a soft green color, which Lisa had learned meant she was eager to learn something new. "Good morning, Kira," Lisa said, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. "Are you ready to learn about human reproduction?" Kira's large eyes widened as she looked at all the books and charts Lisa had prepared. "Yes, but I must warn you, this is very different from anything on my planet. I might ask many questions." Lisa laughed. "Questions are good. That's how we learn." She started with the basics, opening a biology textbook to a page showing the differences between male and female humans. Kira leaned forward, her eyes changing from green to bright blue as her curiosity grew. "So humans come in 2 different forms?" Kira asked, tilting her head. "On my planet, we are all the same. We can all create new life by ourselves." "That's right," Lisa said. "Humans need both forms to create new life together. We call them male and female. Each has different body parts that work together in the reproduction process." Kira picked up her translation device and spoke into it in her own language. Lisa could hear soft musical sounds, probably her taking notes to send back to her home planet. "This is very strange," Kira said after a moment. "Why would nature make it so complicated? Why not just let everyone create life alone?" Lisa had never thought about it that way. "I think it makes us stronger. When 2 different people combine their traits, their children get the best qualities from both parents. It creates variety and helps our species survive better." She showed Kira pictures of families where children looked like combinations of their parents. Some had their father's eyes and their mother's smile. Others had their mother's hair color and their father's height. Kira studied the pictures carefully. "Fascinating. So the small humans are like mixtures of their creators?" "Exactly," Lisa said. "It's like mixing 2 different colors of paint to create a completely new color." This seemed to make sense to Kira. Her people understood energy combinations, so thinking of human reproduction as mixing different traits was easier for her to grasp. Next, Lisa explained the monthly cycle that human females experience. This completely amazed Kira. Her species had no concept of time-based biological changes. So human females prepare their bodies every month for possible new life even when they don't plan to create it? Kira asked. That's right. It's automatic. The female body gets ready just in case. But what if they don't want to create new life that month? Lisa smiled. Then the body resets and tries again next month. It's been happening this way for thousands of years. Kira was quiet for a long time, processing this information. Finally, she said, "Human bodies are very hopeful. They keep trying even when the mind isn't ready." Lisa had never thought of it that way, but Kira was right. Human biology was optimistic, always preparing for the possibility of new life. They spent the afternoon looking at diagrams, showing how human reproduction actually worked. Lisa explained, it like a science lesson, focusing on the biological facts. Kira asked dozens of questions comparing everything to how her own species worked. On my planet, when we want to create new life, we sit in a circle and share our consciousness energy, Kira explained. The new being appears immediately, already knowing everything we know. There is no waiting, no growing, no carrying. That sounds very efficient, Lisa said. But human babies need time to grow and learn. They start very small and helpless, and their parents teach them everything over many years. Why so long? Why not give them all knowledge immediately? Lisa thought about this. I think the learning process is part of what makes us human. Children learn not just facts, but how to love, how to be kind, how to solve problems. They learn by watching their parents and trying things themselves. Kira's eyes turned purple again, her deep thinking color. So human reproduction is not just about creating new life. It's about creating a long relationship between the creators and the created. Yes, Lisa said excitedly. You're beginning to understand. Having a baby isn't just a one-time event, it's the beginning of a lifelong connection. As the day went on, Lisa could see that Kira was starting to grasp the complexity of human relationships. She understood that reproduction was connected to love, commitment, and family bonds in ways that didn't exist on her planet. Lisa, I have one more question, Kira said as they finished their lesson. If human reproduction is so complicated and takes so much time and energy, why do humans choose to do it? Lisa closed the textbooks and looked at her alien friend. Because despite all the challenges, creating new life with someone you love is the most wonderful thing humans can do. The joy of holding your child for the first time makes all the difficulty worth it. Kira's skin glowed a warm golden color, which Lisa had learned meant she was feeling something close to happiness. I think I'm beginning to understand why humans value love so much. On my planet we create life, but we don't create connections. Maybe that's why your species seems so alive. That evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Kira said something that surprised Lisa. Tomorrow, I would like to observe more humans who are going through this reproduction process. I want to see how they behave, how they prepare, how they support each other. Lisa smiled. I think that's a wonderful idea. There's so much more to learn about being human than just the biology. As night fell, Lisa realized that teaching Kira about human reproduction was changing her own understanding too. Seeing it through alien eyes made her appreciate how remarkable and beautiful the whole process really was. The next morning, Lisa decided to take Kira to the local park, where many couples like to spend time together. She thought it would be the perfect place for Kira to observe human courtship behaviors in a natural setting. As they walked through the park entrance, Kira's eyes immediately turned bright blue with curiosity. Look around and tell me what you notice, Lisa said, sitting on a bench near the pond. Kira watched quietly for several minutes. Her head tilted as she observed a young couple sitting under a tree. The man was sharing his sandwich with the woman, breaking it in half and giving her the bigger piece. They are sharing food, Kira said slowly. But they each brought their own meals. Why give away part of yours? Lisa smiled. It's a way of showing care. When humans like each other, they want to make sure the other person is happy and well fed. A few minutes later, another couple walked by. They were moving at exactly the same pace, their steps matching perfectly. The woman would stop to look at flowers, and the man would stop too. When he pointed at a bird in the sky, she looked up as well. Those two humans are copying each other, Kira observed. Is this some kind of dance? Not exactly, Lisa explained. When people are attracted to each other, they naturally start mirroring each other's movements. It happens without them even thinking about it. Kira's skin glowed a soft yellow as she processed this information. So their bodies are communicating even when their minds don't realize it? That's right. Human bodies have many ways of showing interest in potential partners. They watched as a couple sat on a nearby bench. The woman laughed at something, the man said, and he smiled widely. Then he said something that made her laugh even harder. They seemed to be trying to make each other as happy as possible. They keep making those mouth sounds, Kira said, referring to laughter. The ones that show happiness. Why do they work so hard to create happiness in each other? Lisa thought about this. Because when you care about someone, their happiness becomes important to you. Making your partner laugh feels almost as good as laughing yourself. Later, that week, Lisa's friend Rachel invited them to her wedding. Lisa thought this would be perfect for Kira to see how humans formally commit to each other before starting families. The wedding was held in a beautiful garden. Kira had never seen anything like it before. Hundreds of humans had gathered just to watch two people promise to stay together. Her eyes changed colors rapidly as she tried to process everything she was seeing. Why are all these other humans here? Kira whispered to Lisa as they took their seats. This seems like something private between the two who are bonding. Humans like to celebrate important moments together, Lisa whispered back. When two people decide to commit to each other, their friends and family want to show support. During the ceremony, Kira watched with fascination as Rachel and her partner Tom exchanged rings and made promises to each other. The words they spoke seemed very important. Promises to care for each other, to stay together through difficult times, and to build a life as a team. They are making contracts with each other, Kira observed. But there are no written documents. How will they remember all these promises? They remember with their hearts, Lisa said. These promises are so important that they don't need to write them down. When Rachel and Tom kissed at the end of the ceremony, everyone cheered and clapped. Kira jumped slightly at the sudden noise, then watched as the crowd surrounded the couple with hugs and congratulations. The community is celebrating their decision to bond, Kira said thoughtfully. On my planet, reproduction is a solitary act, but here, it seems to involve everyone. The following week, Lisa took Kira to a baby shower for her colleague Diana. The moment they walked into the room, Kira was overwhelmed by all the activity. Women were playing games, opening gifts, and talking excitedly about the baby that would arrive soon. What is the purpose of this gathering? Kira asked, watching as Diana opened box after box of tiny clothes and toys. It's called a baby shower, Lisa explained. Friends and family give gifts to help prepare for the new baby. It's a way of showing support and sharing the excitement. Kira watched as Diana held up each gift, smiling and thanking the giver. There were blankets, clothes, feeding bottles, and toys. The amount of preparation surprised Kira. Humans need so many objects to care for their offspring, she noted. On my planet, new beings appear with everything they need. During the party, the women shared stories about their own children and gave Diana advice about parenting. They talked about sleepless nights, first smiles, and the challenges of raising little ones. They are sharing knowledge, Kira realized. Even though each human family is separate, they help each other learn how to care for offspring. Lisa nodded. Raising children is hard work. We help each other by sharing what we've learned. One woman told a story about her baby's first steps, and everyone smiled and laughed together. Another shared advice about soothing crying babies. Kira listened to everything with intense focus. These humans are not related to Diana, correct? Kira asked. Most of them aren't family, no, they're friends and co-workers. But they care about her offspring as if it were their own. In a way, yes. Human communities often help raise children together. We believe it takes a village to raise a child. On the drive home, Kira was unusually quiet. Finally, she spoke up. Lisa, I think I'm beginning to understand something important about humans. What's that? Your reproduction process isn't just about creating new life. It's about creating connections between many people. The couple connects to each other, they connect to their community, and everyone connects to help the new offspring. Lisa felt proud of how much Kira was learning. That's exactly right. We don't just make babies, we make families and strengthen communities. On my planet, we create new life, but we don't create these networks of care. Each being exists alone. Kira's skin glowed a thoughtful purple. I think that might be why humans seem so much more emotionally complex than my species. That night, as they sat on the porch looking at the stars, Kira asked one more question. Do all human couples go through these rituals before reproducing? Not all, but most do in some way. The details might be different, but the idea is the same. Two people deciding to commit to each other and their future family. Kira nodded slowly. Tomorrow, I would like to learn more about what happens after humans make these commitments. How do they prepare for the actual arrival of offspring? Lisa smiled. I think you're ready for that lesson. Over the next few days, Kira started paying closer attention to Lisa and her partner David. She noticed things that she had overlooked before. Small gestures, quiet conversations, and the way they seemed to communicate without words. One morning, Kira watched as Lisa and David made breakfast together. David handed Lisa the coffee cup before she even asked for it. Lisa buttered David's toast just the way he liked it, with extra butter on the corners. They moved around the kitchen like dancers who had practiced the same routine for years. How do you know what the other person needs before they ask, Kira? Questioned Lisa later that day. Lisa thought about it. When you live with someone for a long time and care about them deeply, you learn their habits and preferences. David always needs coffee first thing in the morning, so I make sure it's ready. It's not magic, it's just love and attention. But you don't communicate with your minds like my species does. How do you know his thoughts? We don't read thoughts, but we read emotions and body language. After years together, we can tell when the other person is happy, sad, worried, or excited just by looking at them. Kira's eyes turned bright yellow as she processed this information. So humans develop a form of mental connection through time and observation? I suppose you could say that, Lisa smiled, though we call it understanding each other. That afternoon, Lisa decided to share something personal with Kira. They sat in the garden, and Lisa's expression became more serious. Kira, I want to tell you about something difficult that David and I went through. It might help you understand more about human emotions and reproduction. Kira's skin immediately shifted to a concerned green color. Are you and David not well? We're fine. Now, but for several years we tried to have a baby and couldn't. We went to doctors, tried different treatments, and hoped every month that it would finally happen. Kira listened intently as Lisa explained the emotional journey she and David had experienced. The monthly disappointments, the medical appointments, the hope followed by sadness, and the strain it put on their relationship. I don't understand, Kira said slowly. If creating offspring is so difficult and causes so much emotional pain, why do humans continue trying? Lisa looked at the flowers in her garden. Because the desire to create life with someone you love is so strong that it's worth the pain. Every month we thought, maybe this time. The hope was stronger than the disappointment. But why is this desire so powerful? On my planet, reproduction is simply a choice, like deciding what to eat for a meal. Lisa considered this carefully. For humans, having a baby isn't just about continuing our species. It's about creating a little person who is part of both partners, someone who will carry their love into the future. It's about becoming a family. Kira was quiet for a long time. What happened? Did you eventually create offspring? Lisa's face lit up. Yes, after 3 years of trying and medical help, I became pregnant. David cried when we found out, happy tears. But I also learned something important during those difficult years. What did you learn? I learned that going through challenges together makes a partnership stronger. David and I supported each other through the sadness and never gave up hope. When we finally succeeded, our joy was even greater because we had waited so long. The next day, Lisa invited Kira to attend a childbirth preparation class with her and David. Lisa was helping her friend Kelly, who was expecting her first baby. Kira was curious about how humans prepared for the actual arrival of their offspring. The class was held in a hospital meeting room. About 10 couples sat on mats on the floor, all at different stages of pregnancy. The instructor, a kind woman named Rose, was teaching them breathing exercises and positions that would help during labor. Kira watched with amazement as the partners practiced supporting each other through the exercises. The men would rub their wives' backs, help them change positions, and encourage them through the practice contractions. "Why do the male partners participate so actively?" Kira asked Lisa quietly. "They are not the ones carrying the offspring." "Because having a baby is a team effort," Lisa whispered back. "The woman does the physical work of carrying and delivering the baby, but her partner provides emotional support and helps her through the difficult parts." During a break in the class, Kira listened to the couples talking about their fears and excitement. One woman worried about the pain of childbirth. Her husband held her hand and reminded her that they would get through it together. Another couple discussed their nervousness about becoming parents and whether they would know how to care for a baby. "These humans are scared," Kira observed, "but they're doing it anyway." "Yes," Lisa agreed. "Having a baby is probably the scariest and most wonderful thing humans can do. We're scared because we know our lives will change completely, but we're excited because we know it will be the best change possible." After the class, one of the expectant fathers, Mike, came over to talk to them. His wife was due any day and he was clearly nervous. "I keep thinking about all the ways I might mess up as a dad," he confided to Lisa. "What if I drop the baby? What if I can't comfort him when he cries? What if I'm not good enough?" Lisa smiled warmly. Every parent worries about those things. The fact that you're already thinking about being the best dad possible shows you're going to do great. On the drive home, Kira was unusually thoughtful. "Lisa, these humans in the class, they are all afraid of the same things, but they support each other." "That's right. Becoming parents is scary, but we don't have to do it alone. On my planet, when we create new life, there are no fears because the process is simple and the outcome is predictable. But I'm beginning to think that maybe fear makes the experience more meaningful for humans." Lisa was impressed by Kira's insight. "I think you're right. Because we know that having a baby is challenging and life-changing, we appreciate it more. We prepare for it, we support each other through it, and we celebrate it when it happens." That evening, as they watched David fix a broken chair in the garage, Kira made another observation. "David prepares for your future offspring by making sure your home is safe and functional, even though no baby has been created yet." "Yes," Lisa said, watching her partner work. "He's nesting, preparing our home for the family we hope to have someday." "So humans begin caring for their offspring before they even exist?" "In many ways, yes. We prepare physically by making our homes ready, emotionally by strengthening our partnerships, and mentally by learning about parenting." Kira's skin glowed a warm golden color. "I think I understand now why human reproduction involves so much emotion. It's not just about the biological process, it's about hope, fear, love, preparation, and dreams for the future all mixed together." Lisa nodded. "Exactly. Having a baby is the ultimate act of faith in the future." As Kira's 6-month stay on Earth was coming to an end, she spent her final weeks writing detailed reports about everything she had learned. Lisa often found her sitting by the window, speaking softly into her translation device, trying to find the right words to explain human reproduction to her home planet. One evening, Lisa sat down next to Kira and asked, "What will you tell your people about us?" Kira's eyes turned a deep purple, her thinking color. "I will tell them that human reproduction is the most complex and beautiful process I have ever witnessed. But I'm not sure they will understand." "Why not?" "Because on my planet, we think efficiency is the most important thing. We create new life quickly, without complications, without emotions, without risk. But humans have chosen a path that is difficult, dangerous, and filled with uncertainty. My people might think humans are foolish. Lisa felt a little sad hearing this. And what do you think? Kira's skin began to glow a warm golden color. I think humans are the bravest beings in the universe. You choose love even when it's complicated. You choose to have families even when it's scary. You choose to hope even when you might be disappointed. The next day, Lisa organized a farewell dinner and invited several friends who had helped Kira learn about human relationships. Rachel and Tom, the couple who had gotten married, came with their honeymoon photos. Diana brought her new baby, who had been born just 2 weeks earlier. Kelly and Mike from the childbirth class came with their newborn son. As everyone gathered around Lisa's dining table, Kira looked amazed at seeing all these couples in different stages of their family journeys. Rachel and Tom were still in the early excitement of being newlyweds. Diana was tired but glowing with joy as a new mother. Kelly and Mike looked exhausted but proud as they took turns holding their baby. Kira has been learning about human reproduction and relationships, Lisa announced to the group. Would you like to share what you've observed about us, Kira? Kira stood up, her skin shifting through several colors as she gathered her thoughts. When I first arrived on Earth, I thought human reproduction was unnecessarily complicated. On my planet, we create new life in minutes and the new being knows everything immediately. I thought this was superior to your method. Everyone listened quietly as Kira continued. But after watching all of you, I understand that human reproduction isn't just about creating new life. It's about creating connections, building communities, and making the future better than the present. She looked at Rachel and Tom. You two made promises to each other in front of everyone you care about. This wasn't just about your relationship. It was about asking your community to support your future family. Then she turned to Diana. You carried your baby for 9 months, and during that time, dozens of people helped prepare for his arrival. Your friends gave you gifts, shared advice, and celebrated with you. The baby was loved by many people before he was even born. Finally, she looked at Kelly and Mike. You two spent months learning how to become parents together. You practiced supporting each other, learned about caring for babies, and faced your fears as a team. Your baby will be born into a partnership that has already been tested and strengthened. Everyone at the table smiled as they listened to Kira's observations. Baby James started crying, and without hesitation, several people offered to help. Rachel held him while Diana finished her dinner. Tom made funny faces to make the baby smile. This teamwork seemed to fascinate Kira even more. Do you see? Kira said, watching the group work together. This is what I mean. Even now, you all help care for each other's children. The babies belong to their parents, but they also belong to the community. Mike nodded. That's exactly right. We're all in this together. After dinner, as people were saying goodbye, each couple shared their hopes for the future with Kira. Rachel and Tom talked about wanting to have children in a few years. Diana spoke about watching her son grow up and maybe giving him a brother or sister someday. Kelly and Mike discussed the kind of parents they hoped to become. You all think so far into the future, Kira observed. On my planet, we create new life, and that's the end of our involvement. But humans seem to think about their offspring's entire lives, even before they're conceived. That's because love makes us think beyond ourselves, Lisa explained. When we love someone, we want the best possible future for them. Later that evening, after everyone had gone home, Kira sat with Lisa and David on their front porch. The stars were bright, and Kira pointed toward her home constellation. Tomorrow I return to my planet, she said softly, but I will never forget what I've learned here. What will you miss most about Earth? David asked. Kira thought for a moment. I will miss watching humans love each other. On my planet, we exist, we function, we reproduce, but we don't love. I didn't even know what love was until I came here. Maybe you can teach your people about it, Lisa suggested. I will try, but I don't think they will understand at first. Love seems to require vulnerability, and my species avoids anything that might make us weak. But love doesn't make humans weak, David said. It makes us stronger. Yes, I've seen this. When Rachel was nervous about her wedding, Tom's love gave her courage. When Diana was tired during pregnancy, her partner's love gave her strength. When Kelly was afraid during childbirth class, Mike's love helped her face her fears. Kira stood up and looked at both Lisa and David. Thank you for showing me what it means to be human. You taught me that reproduction is not just about biology. It's about hope, commitment, sacrifice, and joy all mixed together. She paused, her skin glowing brighter. I have one final observation about human reproduction. What's that? Lisa asked. You create new life not because you have to, but because you want to share your love with another being. You want to give someone else the gift of existence, of experiencing love, of being part of a family and community. This is the most generous thing I have ever witnessed. Lisa felt tears in her eyes. Thank you, Kira. You've helped us see our own species in a new way, too. The next morning, as the government transport arrived to take Kira back to the space station, she hugged Lisa and David goodbye. It was the first time she had ever hugged anyone, and she seemed surprised by how good it felt. I will send reports to my planet about human reproduction, she said as she prepared to leave. But more importantly, I will tell them about human love. Maybe someday we can learn to love like humans do. As the transport disappeared into the sky, Lisa realized that Kira had given them a gift too. Through her alien eyes, they had seen how remarkable and precious human love really was. Do you think her people will understand? David asked. Lisa smiled. Maybe not at first, but love has a way of spreading, even across the stars.